I didn't favour any of them at the time. When I rediscovered them in 2001, when I found the dead stock, I definitely was more of a fan of the guidance. The thing that was clever about the equipment line is that it was brand-led rather than consumer-led. In the modern era, brands can be almost guilty of constantly trying to, respond to what they think the consumer wants, when a lot of the time the consumer doesn't even know what they want until it's put in front of them. So I have huge respect for the equipment line in the way that there was a vision and they pursued a vision and they stuck to that vision. And not only that, it was a total vision, so it ran across the different categories. The influence of it has been more about the messaging of equipment. It was like, it's a pure performance message. And I think that's kind of very relevant, especially nowadays where all the fashion designers are having a love affair with sportswear, as they call it. I got a call from a friend of mine who'd found some dead stock up in the northeast of England. And amongst all that, there were these boxes of equipment shoes, and as I started to look at them, I was like, actually these look pretty good. And I have to put my hands up now and sort of say that I think that the design of these shoes was actually ahead of its time. We were quite set in our ways as to the aesthetic that we liked from Adidas, but kind of finding dead stock pairs of them, like say, or like a decade after they were released, I was like, no, actually these look pretty good. As you can see, there's probably about 1,100 shoes in here. They're one of the pairs that I bought. This was a dead stock pair that I picked up in about 2001. But this detail here, the way, I think it's an amazing piece of design. So I guess I gave them a bit of a reappraisal. I didn't understand that it was going to be, that was going to become the sort of dominant logo in the company. I saw a fax from Peter Moore where he was talking about how the trefoil he felt like it looked stuck on shoes, and that this fitted better. And I kind of understand the rationale behind that, but I actually think the trefoil looks beautiful on shoes. I think it's like it's the cherry on the top of the cake. And this idea that it looks stuck on, I'm a kid that grew up in that era where it was like, we were very brand-minded. So I quite like the fact that the branding was kind of outstanding. I didn't want my branding kind of camouflaged into the design of the shoe. And I personally think the trefoil is one of the most beautiful graphics ever by any brand or any company.
Auf Adidas getrimmt und entdecken das Sohle ZX8000 Original, das war damals so ein Must-Have. Es gab damals auch so 2, 3 Farbgebungen und das war ein Schuh, der mir immer wieder über den Weg gelaufen ist und der halt einfach immer aufgefallen ist, und den hatten die coolen und die großen Jungs immer an, und das war halt das, was man selber auch haben wollte. Man wollte immer das Beste vom Besten haben, von der Qualität her, man wollte preisintensive Sachen haben, und oft war das halt so, dass man sich auch an dem Westen orientiert hat. So, weil auch so Westdeutsche hatten ja immer das Beste vom Besten, die hatten Geld, konnten sich teure Bekleidung leisten, und Ostbürger haben denen halt oft nachgeahmt. Und der Trend ist bis heute immer noch relativ stark in den östlichen Regionen, und auf jeden Fall in Berlin mehr denn je größer als wie in jeder anderen Metropole weltweit. definitiv. Die Schuhe sind sehr robust, sehr qualitativ, sehr hochwertig und man benutzt halt oft den Slogan, wie damals auch zu Equipment, die Serie The Best of Adidas. Das ist so der Slogan, den man immer wieder irgendwie verwendet, so als Sammler, weil man halt projiziert auf diese Modelle. Das ist das Beste, was es mal gab, die beste Qualität und hochwertige Materialien. Kann sie halt teilweise bis heute, 20 Jahre später, immer noch tragen. Und das ist eigentlich, was den Hype um die Serie halt so kreiert, dass die Schuhe halt tragbar sind. Was die meisten Schuhe anderer Hersteller heutzutage nach 20 Jahren nicht mehr sind. Und das macht es eigentlich aus.
Equipment was presented or introduced to me as the best of Adidas. And it was a new concept, and this new concept was supposed to solve the big problem Adidas had at that time. That means at the end of the 80s, Adidas as a company had a big problem about decreasing the demand of Adidas product. The way Rob Strasser and Peter Moore presented equipment was the solution to that problem. I think equipment brought a kind of new approach to how to create, design, and to market products. I think it was a simple approach, really understandable approach, and it has a big influence on the future of Adidas. Another definition of equipment was about the essentials. So if you take football or soccer at that time, the question was, what do you need to play football or to play soccer? And this is not about the most you can put on the product, but it's just the need, the essentials.
アディダスの、エキプメントのランニングシューズっていうよりは多分サッカーのカテゴリーだったりとか、あらゆるスポーツのカテゴリーにおいてやっぱそのトップモデルで、あるとは思うので、もちろん、プライスが高価な分テクノロジーはやっぱりそのタイミングで用いるテクノロジーを詰め込んでるっていう意識はもちろん伝わってはいると思うので、プライスっていうよりは多分パフォーマンス、自分がそれを履いてトレーニングしたり何か競技をする時の手助けになるような実感っていうのはみんなあると思う。エキプメントのシューズだと思うので、知ってはいるけど足を通したことないとか、自分のコレクションの中にまだ一足もないっていう人はいっぱいいると思うので、これから出てくるシューズを見てテンション上げてほしいなと思います。
So it was really the best. And to us, best didn't mean the most expensive or the most technical. It meant the best performance. It gave the athlete what the athlete needed to perform at their best.
I think good design is good design, and I think when you get a reissue that is reissued with the correct specifications, you don't necessarily have to rely on nostalgia to sell that product, because people will just see it for the beauty of its design.